And it's up. We'll just give it a couple of seconds for people to be able to get on. So excited. Welcome, everybody, to Live from the View from Bellevue, Tennessee. It is Thursday once again. Hard to believe, isn't it? It is Thursday night, 7 p.m., and as you know, that's when we do Live from the View. We have a really great show for you this evening, and I'm so excited about it. I get to bring on a great friend of mine who I've known for several years, it's going to be a cool, really nice conversation. So I'm looking forward to this. So I would like to introduce you to the folks who are sitting to my left, right? I don't know how that looks out there in Live from the View land. Roberto, Vega, Ortiz. And sitting with Roberto is Theresa Knudson. With and they are the founders of a new ballet company in Oakland, California, called Ballet 22. This is not your normal everyday ballet company, and this is an important one that I thought was it was an important art situation that we just need to talk about a little bit more because it's out of the box in every way, and I think you're going to be really quite educated on what these two have put together for the world to see. They're out there, man. And they did this during COVID. Let's just talk about that for a second. So they've done some remarkable work. So guys, welcome to Live from the View.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So just give y'all a little background. Roberto and I met many years ago. He was living in Nashville, part of the Nashville Ballet Company. You and Alex. And so these were two that were working at there was a restaurant out here called Publicity that was like my favorite place to hang out and did a lot. So during that time, I got to know Roberto and Alex a lot. They both worked at the ballet, and it's like just really came to admire both of you. And so after that, Roberto, tell me just a little bit about well, let's tell you what. Let's back up just a little bit. Let's talk about let's just back up a little bit. Let's back up to how you and Theresa became into being ballet people.
Wow.
How did it all start? Either one can go first, and then we'll kind of walk into present day.
I guess for me, I've always loved to dance, and not ballet, but jazz, hip hop, or whatever. Talent shows in the school, and since like kindergarten. And it wasn't until I was 13 or 14 that someone was like, "You have to come to the academy." And like I started with hip hop and jazz, actually doing classes, and then they made me take ballet, and I was like, no, and then I loved it. And yeah, that was it. I fell in love from the very first class, and from there I haven't stopped.
That's awesome. Theresa, how'd you get into it?
Yeah, so I mean, similar to a lot of little girls in the U.S., my mom put me in ballet, and just never, as like a 3-year-old, just jump around in a tutu, and I never quit. But I would say ballet was kind of a slow burn for me. I did other things. I was really into theater, and I love like climbing trees and doing other stuff. And it wasn't until I did my first Nutcracker when I was 12 that I was like, oh, you gotta like go to class and pay attention. And this takes a lot of work. And I was really inspired by that experience. And so I really started training and actually going to a ballet school at that age. And then from there, it's all I do. So here we are.
And where did you start?
I trained in Orange County with a woman named Lois Ellen.
Cool, very cool. So you're kind of closer to back home again.
Yeah. I've lived in California my whole life, so up and down the coast.
Which is what a lot of people from California do. It's a big place. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Roberto, where are you from? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Puerto Rico, born and raised, and that's where I started my training. And then from there, I've lived in several places. I've lived in Miami, then Nashville, then I moved to New York, then Philadelphia, and then ultimately I ended up here in Oakland.
Coast to coast.
Yeah,
So, I know that when you left Nashville and you went to New York, you went on tour for a while.
I did for 2 years.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I moved to New York to join Le Ballet Trocadero de Monte Carlo, which is a comedy drag ballet company, and they've been around for 45 years almost.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a lot of legacy. They're amazing, and that's where the training, the dancing on point for men started for me. And then they are based in New York, and we would just travel all over the world, which was like amazing and also very tiring, but definitely an experience. And that's kind of how everything just started with the work that we are doing here, with continuing that legacy and pushing and moving things to the 21st century.
That's great. Okay, well, that kind of brings us up to where we're at now, right? I know you've both done a lot of work, and you got together. How did y'all meet? Haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, so this is like a cool story. So before Roberto moved to the Bay Area, another former Trot, Chris Lamb, was like, there's this new guy moving here. His name's Roberto. He's amazing. And I'm like, okay. So like word was already out on the street that you were about to land in the Bay Area. And then I had, I'm a freelancer, so I had a couple random gigs. And so I had a rehearsal, and they were like, this is Roberto. And I was like, oh, I've heard about you. Like, you're famous already. And so we met, and it was like your first week, I think.
Yeah, I had just arrived pretty much, like, my first week, and I met her.
Yeah. And then the next day I had another rehearsal at Menlo Ballet, and I showed up to the rehearsal, and they were like, this is Roberto. It's his first week. And I was like, we already met him yesterday.
We met already.
We met. And then actually from there, we started carpooling, because Menlo Park is pretty far from the East Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And, in those car rides, it was like a 4-hour, 2 hours one way, 2 hours back. We bonded during that commute.
It was every day for 2 months.
Yeah. And then I think from there, we just were, bonded at the hip, and then came COVID, and we're like, let's do this. We went on vacation to see my aunt for a week, and that turned into like a 2-month stay, which turned into our incubation period for Ballet 22. And then by the time we got home to the Bay Area, or back to Oakland in the Bay Area, we were like, all right, we're doing this. So that's how it started. 2 random gigs.
Yeah.
Turned into a company.
Okay. Let's talk about this company. Tell us about Ballet 22.
Oh my God. Well, I guess it started with the I guess not having a place to do what we're doing right now, which is to dance for male identifying and non-binary dancers to dance in a professional level on point in a non-comedic way. So just dancing as our true selves. And that was kind of like, I felt like throughout my entire career and my training, I didn't really felt that I was authentic, or that I could do what I really wanted. It was like I had to choose one thing or another, and I never could just have me, or just like whoever you are as a person. And that's how it started. The company, just creating that space for artists to feel safe and to do what they love. And it hasn't been done before, and there's not really a place like ours. So I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could talk about like the actual like catapult for this, because as you mentioned, as a kid training on point, there was a lot of pushback and not any real support there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a professional, you're either dancing in drag, making jokes, like, the falling and the facial expressions, and, you're doing a certain, just a very specific type of dancing on pointe. And then in another company that's more mainstream, then you're expected to partner and do beats. And like, where is that place for people who want to dance on pointe, just as themselves? And, I think as an outsider to that, like, I love seeing men on pointe and seeing all people dancing on pointe. And this isn't a new thing. Like, we're by no means trying to claim that we're like the first people to do this, but we do see a lot of people dancing on pointe on Instagram and YouTube. And there is a community there, but there isn't a home for it. And we really wanted to take that leap and create that home. So that's the backstory on the catapult. So during COVID, while we were with my aunt in the Central Coast, Roberto and his friend Carlos Hapui started doing Zoom classes for men and male identifying and non-binary dancers to train on pointe. Just, regular technique classes. We're all in our living rooms, hanging onto chairs and stuff. And it was this really beautiful training program. And because it was COVID, like, the whole world stopped, and we could have these early morning classes, and we had people from Germany and Japan and I think South America. I mean, it was amazing. It was this global class. And I mean, I was so moved. And then from there, I was like, okay, together we decided let's do like a video and have everyone send in footage. And that was our first piece that we produced. And then we're like, you know what? This should be on stage. This should be more. And the dreams kept, and that's kind of how we are. We have these really big goals, and we're just like, why are we waiting? What are we waiting for? Let's do it. If now when. So we formed a company.
So the folks who don't understand or don't know, what does on pointe mean?
So it's
Should I grab you a shoe?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go.
I don't know if I have one.
Scoot you in.
It's being on your toes. So usually in ballet, that'll work. So these are pointe shoes. So these are technically horrible apparatuses that just hurt your feet, but they allow us to dance. And these were back in the time, they were made specifically for female dancers to create and this is in the late 1800s, to create this feeling of elevation, just like weightless movement, just rising on your toes kind of thing. So then,
and the characters were usually like sylphs, fairies, ghosts, like
mythical
kind of heavenly creatures that were almost levitating.
So then it's kind of like when rising on your toes is your foot. We usually just go like this, right? So then on pointe allows you to go actually over your toes and, having a straight line, which is why
balance on this kind of flat edge.
Right.
And there's a platform so that you can balance.
Right.
So we're going from flat.
Oh, gotcha.
And then at the very end, you go boop, up onto the shoe.
Wow. So again, so you can see that's how they make them, even though they're changing now. But for all the history until that last year, honestly, pointe shoes are like pink. So that means that like they're meant for females, and only females train and dance on pointe. And that has not always been the case. And from many years, and I mean, early trainings for like 100 years ago or something, men used to also train on pointe. And so it's definitely kind of a taboo. And growing up in Puerto Rico, very conservative, and it was not well received. It still isn't. And I just like pushed through, for example, and like me, many other dancers all over the world, And now, thanks to social media, we have more representation. That I guess like when I was like looking and trying to find, there was like just this clips on YouTube when YouTube was beginning to be a thing, and a few dancers I would post about Trocadero, and that was really that was the representation, which I'm so happy it existed. But like now with social media, thankfully, you can just you can have as much as you like and want and on the tip of your finger. So yeah, so this is like these are what it is to be on point. Yeah, yes, that's
Amazing. Wow, what history. See, you learn something here all the time. And what a great show. It just kind of clicked with me while you were talking. It's like, what a great show and timely for June being Pride Month that we talk about these things, um, these very issues that surround all of us on a daily basis that we have to fight through and think through and figure out and come to solutions for. But you're providing a solution. I have no doubt for a number of grateful people in your company who are just really glad to have this opportunity to be who they are, to be their authentic selves, as you said earlier. It's really wonderful. So you officially started the ballet company when?
I think it was founded in
October 2020.
2020.
Right in the middle of it all.
Yes. Very time.
And the plans started late August, early September. So this is how crazy we are.
I don't think it's crazy at all.
I mean, it really was like we had a month, and then like once we had everything to be able to, we are fiscally sponsored, so we were waiting on that to be able to like pretty much have like nonprofit status through a third party, and really that was like what we were like, you know, and they select, you know, you have to apply, and it's not just like given, they need to see that there's potential. And so that was scary, very scary. And there were like a couple interviews to like you go through like different phases, and they're like, okay. And once we had that, we created a website, and pretty much we were like fundraising. It's like, let's do it. Let's go full force on it.
And then starting airplane tickets for the dancers.
And our first show was in November.
Yeah.
So that was like from September all the way through November, we already had produced our first show. Digital show, that is.
Yeah, yes. I was there. So how many dancers are part of the ballet now?
So each show we contract different dancers depending on what we're doing and who's available. So
we've had from like 4 all the way to 7.
Yeah,
so depending on the program.
And then for total, like the number of dancers we've had that dance on point this season have been 10. And then
we've had
3
12
that were on flats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been, I think in total 13. 12 or 13.
That's cool. And how did you find these folks?
Well, a lot of them are good friends of mine, and we've danced back in Trocadero. Others just from social media. It's like insane how like social media is just this perfect tool to just hire people. You know, it's like it's better than anything. You can just see everything. It's just it's like very surreal because it's been all these amazing dancers that I have followed for years, and then I'm like, wait, when are you off? Like, because of course everyone has their job, right? So when are you off? Can you come and do this this project with us? And they've been very excited, and everyone has just given so much. It's like so amazing and refreshing to see just dancers that not only are so talented, but are amazing as persons, and also like with wonderful work ethics. And it's just like our experience has been so far like so gratifying and very in a way unexpected, because I guess we didn't know what to expect, and all these random people that we don't know, you know. It's been great.
Yeah.
It really has been.
And I think also just this community of men and male identifying and non-binary dancers on point like lives on the internet and lives on Instagram. And so to actually pull people into one group and then watch them all coexist together in real life is just like everyone fits so well together, but everyone's so different and so unique. And I mean, it's like summer camp. Like so our first 2 shows were like deep, dark into COVID times. And so we were like, okay, we have to create a bubble. We have to test everyone before, during, and after and live together. And take all these extra precautions. But like I was saying, it's like summer camp, and it was so fun. And then this time around, I guess everyone's vaccinated, but we're just like,
It's
you know
still
what?
summer
We're just
camp.
still summer camp. We're still living
We're
together.
still living together.
So it's just really, yeah, I feel like the environment we create is one that's like super supportive. We do like these family meals, and
That's so cool.
yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
yeah, it's just fun like having all the guys, and like this show we have, let's see, we're Florida, Alabama, Massachusetts,
Arizona.
2 Californias, and Arizona. So it's really
and that's how
Yeah.
that's how it's always been. Honestly, it's like
Yeah.
insane. Like just connecting, just everywhere in the U.S. Like I mean, our first show was all the way from Washington State, from New York, from Florida, still
Oregon.
like Oregon. I mean, where else?
Well, Joshua is from
Ohio.
And then we had Brian in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Tennessee,
just everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's been really exciting to like, again, like kind of take these like Instagram accounts that are like, you can look at males on point or male ballerinas or boys on point, just look at the hashtags and you can find the people and influencers, but to actually like have them all in one place, it's just been really amazing.
That is amazing. Congratulations. That's true accomplishment. So should we take a moment and give people a snapshot of what we might be talking about?
Sure, yeah.
Is this a good time to do that? Which one would you like for me to show?
Should we... Breaking Ground?
Yeah, let's go in order. So we can show the trailer from our first show, Breaking Ground.
I guess the last one is really like a mix of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Bear with me. Sometimes I do not always click on the right button. So I've got Totem Trailer, You want Breaking Ground?
Breaking Ground.
Okay. Folks, stand by. Here we go. Okay, that was amazing. I may have just teared up a little bit over here. So tell me a little bit about this cast and this production. Is this all genders? Is this mostly guys or?
There's a non-binary dancer, and the cool thing that not everyone is gay either. There's 2 people who are straight, 2 guys, and I guess that's really just how, I don't know, and ample. I guess it's like you would think that everyone, as a gay person,
assume that the company is like a gay company,
Mm-hmm.
which for the most part it is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like a requirement or
Right.
It's been really amazing actually to have this like allyship amongst other male dancers, that they're like, oh my God, this is so cool, like you're so powerful, like I've never experienced this. Like it's really been, I think, enriching for them as well to partner the male body in that way. And I think when you're an artist, it's like you crave having all the experiences. You want to like try everything. It's not like I don't know. It's been wonderful not having any feeling of like, oh, I don't want to try that, or any homophobia. It's just been so like, they're so game to do whatever and so on board. It's been really beautiful.
I can see why. I mean, that right there is just very inspirational. It's like, gosh, we get to get. I would want to, if I was ballet, I would want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. This would be where I want to be. I have no doubt. So tell us a little bit about this production, Breaking Ground.
Yeah, so this was the first one we were telling you about that we kind of did off the seat of our pants, I guess. I mean, it was so chaotic, but it went really well. It's just we were new at this, and we thought we planned, and we had our little spreadsheet, and we're like, what do we need to have done? And then as we went through, it was like, oh, we got insurance for the theater, like maybe 2 days before we were filming. And I mean, yeah, it was really fun and very chaotic, and we learned so much. And yeah, so I guess do you want to go through the cast, or like, what do you want to hear about?
I mean, the cast. Oh my God, what's the cast?
One cast member actually tested positive, and they were unable to come, so we had to shift casting. So I mean, everything happened with this one, and they're fine, they're okay. But it was. We learned a lot, and it was a lot of fires to put out while learning and doing other jobs. We still teach, and it was.
No, it was definitely hard, but it was also like wonderful. And as you saw, we all still had to wear our masks, and there were other people in the venue. And what was hard, this was filmed in San Francisco, and San Francisco it has been very strict about their laws, which has worked out. But we were very restricted in terms of like who was in the venue and the theater at once, and some of us had to wait outside and it was very cold in San Francisco.
It was at night. So we had this like a schedule of even like ins and outs. Even during that one piece you saw with the jackets and the tutus, all the dancers were in that, but there always had to be two people outside. So I was outside for that whole piece.
And then one dancer.
And then I would be like yelling to like get people back in. And but I guess a good way it made it exciting. And it worked out. But I would say with this, maybe something important about this show is what was actually on the program. So we opened with Fritz's Dream, right?
Yeah, which is a reimagined Nutcracker pas de deux. So we've all heard about the Nutcracker, and we were like, well, how can we make this?
Updated.
Usually the grand pas de deux, or like the grand music of like that we usually hear, it's of the Sugar Plum Fairy and the Cavalier, which is her partner in a way. And well, there's no Sugar Plum here, and we're all men, at least in that production. So we decided to change it to Fritz's Dream. So the story, it's there's Clara and Fritz and their siblings. Mm-hmm. And Clara receives the Nutcracker from her uncle, and Fritz gets jealous, so he breaks it. So then they fix it and something, and she falls asleep, and that's how. Then it's all a dream, and pretty much like from there, there's the fight, the battle scene, and many things. So then there comes the Sugar Plum Fairy into like the candy line. What is it? Candy land.
Yeah. Land of the Sweets.
Land of the Sweets. So then here we decided that why not, it should be, again, Fritz's Dream. So instead of Clara falling asleep and dreaming about the Nutcracker, it would be her brother instead.
Also dreaming about the Nutcracker.
And he gets to dance with the Nutcracker to the grand music of the Nutcracker.
Yeah. So that was and also the show was in December, and all these pieces we were doing were super contemporary, and we didn't have any like nod to Nutcracker. So we're like, we should, put a little Christmas flair in there. So that was part of the reasoning on that as well. And then another thing, how we, just the way that this shook out, and now this has kind of been our template for how we do the shows, is we'll do a classical piece, we'll do a contemporary piece that has been set on usually women in another company. And then we have a brand new commission. So this was our classical piece. And then we did, I guess, Joshua Staten's Juntos, which had been set on Tulsa Ballet too. On men and women. And in the clip you saw, this was one with the black tutus and the turtlenecks. So we're not using the terms women and men. We're saying the points and the flats. And because this was filmed, it was really neat. We were able to have not everyone, but most of the cast members do both a point part and a flat part within the same ballet, because the costume change was not as
not
critical.
Performance.
It wasn't live. So that was really exciting. And in this clip, you saw Roberto both on point in a tutu, as well as like partnering on flat and dancing on flat. So that was our restaged contemporary piece.
And then I had a fellow Puerto Rican that he was just like over here, and I was a student, and it's like he was such an inspiration. And he has his own company in New York City. And I told Theresa about him, and we reached out, and he was like, of course. And so like we flew him in, and it was just like one of the best things that has happened to us. And just like the work was just amazing.
Yeah.
And, like,
That's exciting.
So this choreographer's name was Omar Roman de Jesus, and his company in New York is called Boca Tuya. And he set the piece that you saw with the jackets and the tutus, and he just created this world that was so so stunning and so like very poignant and kind of sad, but also very entertaining and athletic. And I think that one of the things that, every time I watched it from the front, I was like wiping away the tears. It was just so beautiful to see all the shades that a dancer can produce, like all of the athleticism, but the grace and the vulnerability and the wonderment and the fear and the confidence, like everything was in this piece. It just gave me chills every time I saw it. But yeah, that was our show. And then we did a couple virtual pieces. And that was our show.
Lovely. Absolutely. So I don't know that I distinguished this earlier. It was like, so what do you play? What's the question here I'm trying to ask? What are your roles within the company now? Do you have specific roles, or are you just kind of like, we do things together, or how's it look out? How's that look?
Us?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We do have our titles, but we do everything.
Yeah.
So I would technically be, I am the artistic director, and then Theresa is the executive director. But now it's just very ambiguous. Like technically the artistic director is the one who takes care of the artistic side of the company.
Yep.
And of course, the executive is the one that deals more with money and raising,
Operations
budgeting,
and
operation.
Yeah, but you do a lot of operations. We both answer the emails. We're both cleaning the floor. We're both answering the phone.
Yeah. And a lot of artistic things as well. Like on the other side, I don't take like everything we consult.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, even if I'm like, what do you think? Then she be like, no, I don't think about like what do you think about casting? What do you think about this piece and that? Let me show you what I'm like envisioning. Like what do you so it's like, it's not just like, I'm doing this, goodbye.
Yeah.
So very good at just
it's a good partnership,
communicating and like always like,
sounds like a great partnership.
Yeah.
So who creates the shows? Who writes the shows? It's writing I'm not sure if that's even the correct word.
No,
I would say that one thing that's so important about this company is having the opportunity to do work that these men and dancers would wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So sometimes when we're thinking about a show, it's like, well, what have you always wanted to do? So that's like a question that I like defer to you. And there's, of course, that list is just like, all the things. And then we're like, well, who do we want to work with for the commissions and the restaging? And we have like people that we really want to work with, and like aspirational choreographers we'd love to have. And then people that were like, like this person is on our radar. So we have like these little buckets, and it's kind of picking and deciding, like, does this look good together? I feel like you really have like I would give you a lot of credit for the artistic vision on this project. But yeah, I would say I thank you for bringing me in and keeping me involved. But,
Listen, this is just like, yes, but at the same time, it's like, I can't do this by myself. Like, I didn't even know how to start a company at all. And like, she made that all happen. Like that would have never happened, right? So it's like, you may have the vision, but you need to have someone who will make that vision come true. And then the other way, of course, Theresa is also a dancer. So it's not just like in some companies, it is kind of like it's very separate and they don't really like have that kind of like intertwine or
yeah.
because they don't know, like
Yeah,
the artistic director wouldn't really know how to like manage a company, and the executive director wouldn't know really how to like run artistically a company. So they just like stay away in a way that really like their sides. But this is different because I mean, I've learned now so much about like managing a company because of the reason that we've done, because only the two of us. So then I can like pitch in on her side and then vice versa. So then again, it's like, it's only us. So we really just,
Yeah. So kind of walk me through. So like a production like this, it's not your typical Nutcracker suite, right? This is not one you just pull off the shelf and say, okay, here's the cast, here's the costumes, here's the music, here's how it goes, here's the flow of the show. So, but yours is very cultural. It's very different. It's very, it's not the original Nutcracker by any stretch of the imagination. So, nor is it anybody else's. It's yours. This belongs to Ballet 22. So kind of walk me through what is the process of putting this show together. I mean, how do you choose movements and music and I'm sure you kind of create somewhat of a storyline. I mean, I'm sure you kind of somewhat follow the Nutcracker storyline, but you just interpret it a different way, right?
We just did the pas de deux for this.
Yeah, so just like, it was just like a very short excerpt of like 6 minutes of the dancing. So like it wasn't like the entire
Nutcracker.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, that's like another, like I was saying, we have big goals. That's something we would love to
do. Well, there is that. You're right.
But definitely into putting a show together, it's kind of like, as Theresa was mentioning, we have this kind of formula that we always, it's like the classical ballets and then the new commission and an existing contemporary work, and just like giving just something it's for everyone. That if you don't resonate with contemporary ballet, then you will resonate with classical, or vice versa, or maybe a piece is pushing you but then there's some, maybe you don't like that, or maybe you do. So it's kind of like just having the right balance and formula. And of course, like I'm thinking, what could I'm like thinking already, like what are the ballets and which version, which music, and then I run it by Theresa, and then okay, so maybe she liked something, she was like, no, that's actually really good, and I was like, okay. And then it's kind of like a puzzle, right? And then you kind of just start adding, you have something, and then you start adding on to that. And then you see, as you were saying, the flow of the program and how does this
make sense.
What makes sense, and
something needs to go or be replaced, but
right. Yeah. And I feel like right now we have an upcoming show, and we are just getting ready for that. And it's our first live show, which is
the chaos that we don't know that we're gonna experience.
This is it.
This is gonna happen again.
Right. And it's like, now I'm like, okay, everything in theory worked out, and now that it's like, oh, but the dancers, like, they need time. Before we would just stop and change costumes and change for the filming, and now that it's live, I'm like, oh my god, I can't have this dancer just go straight into another piece without any break, or without having they need to change their costumes, and they're the first ones to be in the piece. So now it's like, just before now signing into this amazing conversation right here, I was like trying to figure out, how can I fix this mess, pretty much. Because the costumes are done, the ballets are done, this is what we're doing, it's been program, so it's like It's I can no longer change anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens. It's
We'll
like
let you
know.
yeah, we'll let you know what happens.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question. When's your first live show? And so it's going to be this one.
Yes.
June 18th to 20th.
June the 8th. You heard it here first, folks, on Live from the View. Probably not the first, but we'll go with it.
Exclusive information for live from the View. Is that right?
Yeah, Live from the View.
So we are going to do a digital, I'm whispering, we're doing a digital version as well. So if you do not live in the Bay Area, please stay tuned. Follow us on social media or join our email list, because we will be definitely reaching out to everyone. We are doing a separate film. Should we tell the location, or is that top secret?
I think we can say.
Okay, yeah, we can say it here because it's in Tennessee. So we're going to be filming at a mint in San Francisco, an old bank where they used to mint the money and store it. It's a really old ancient building. It's beautiful. We're going to be filming there prior to the live show, and then it will be edited together beautifully like our first 2 digital shows. And we haven't announced that yet because we're promoting our live show. Right. But since you all are not in the Bay Area, we do want to let you know to keep your eye out for that, and please join us for that.
That'll be later in the summer. But yeah, it's going to be a beautiful location, and it's not what people have, audience have said from these virtual pieces. It's that we're not trying to recreate a theater or actually film in a theater, which we did for our first show, but we also had other locations as well. And what people have said is like they really love seeing the different outdoor spaces or just like new venues that dance really wouldn't be like showcased in.
Right.
And we've done that, of course, because of it. It's very hard and during COVID to get a theater and all of this, but we want to continue, and let's see how that like keeps going. But for the show, it would be very easy to just showcase and film our live show, but we've decided to just give it
to create
an
a
extra
dance film,
an
make
actual
it
film,
a beautiful experience instead of just like streaming from a theater.
Sure.
But it's probably a good segue into our spring gala trailer,
Yes.
so you can see what we were talking about.
Okay,
sure. Alternative locations.
Here we go. Amazing.
So that was our second show.
Our second evening length
Our
show.
second evening length production.
And where was that done at?
That was at the, oh my God, what's it?
It's called the St. Joseph Society for the Arts in San Francisco. This old church that the interior designer found. He said it was overrun with pigeons and just destroyed from an earthquake, I believe. And he bought it and turned it into this gorgeous space. And they reached out to us and offered us the space to film. It was such a gift. And it was great. I mean, the more contemporary piece that you saw, that without skirts, that was done kind of in the upper mezzanine, and then there's the altar that had been converted into a stage, and we filmed towards the altar and also facing into what used to be the church. And so it was one space, but it was just so like visually stimulating. It really was
just going to different areas. Yeah.
Is there any chance you go back there to do it with a live audience?
I think so. Yeah. Once they're open and able to produce events, I definitely would like to pursue that for the company.
Or maybe bring it to Nashville or something like that. Oh no, hint, hint.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I would love to go back.
I mean, I know some people. We have community arts at Bellevue. We would love to produce. We'd love to bring something like that here.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Again, to our big goals, we would really love to be able to tour because, as much as like this company fits really well with the Bay Area, being this like hub for LGBT rights and the history, this is for everybody. And, there's people that are moved by this work all over the world. The emails and the comments that we get, it really is a global movement. It started as a global movement during the pandemic. And that's another reason why we're doing a digital version of the show in June, is because now that the pandemic is hopefully, simmering down, coming to a close, we don't want to be that company that's just like, well, we're just a Bay Area company. Like, we started off with a global reach as like our goal, and we want to keep that and keep inspiring people and empowering people everywhere, not just in the Bay. So
yep, exactly. Well, I think
we'd love to come tour.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're producing some work that everyone. It's not going to be Bay Area specific. It's going to be very wanted to be seen by everyone, and I see this being very, very successful. I really do. It's got it all, man. It's just got it all. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I know we've also got some photos. We want to walk through a few of those. Again, folks, hang with me. I'll do my best. Wow, what a photo.
This is so we
started male ballerinas with
the classes during COVID. So he was, one of the original founding members, and he's on his way for our show. He'll be here next week to start rehearsing on Sunday to start rehearsing for our June show, and you'll see him in that film as well.
Yeah. I mean, everything about that photograph works. It's powerful. It's dynamic. His feet are, it just screams class and like you said, athleticism and grace. I mean, it just kind of says it all.
Well, I guess that would show clearly what it is to be on point.
Yeah, and then some.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that would be me.
Roberto up on top.
Oh,
no, I'm on the bottom.
He's lifting. Yeah.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, I'm lifting Carlos, which is the one we just saw in the previous
okay.
photo. Yeah.
These are early on photos, right?
Oh no, these are from spring.
From spring.
Yeah. And then this was our first show. This was I was telling you about Omar Roman de Jesus from Puerto Rico, who's now in New York with his company Bocatuya. So this was this world that he'd created. And this dancer standing here, Evan, he will also be joining us on Sunday as well. So that will be his second show back with us. We're really excited. He's coming from Alabama Ballet.
From Alabama? Oh, wow. Sorry about that.
This is from our first production as well. This is Joshua Staten's Juntos. And we have from left to right, we have Dong Hoon, who used to dance with the National Ballet of Korea. And then next to him is Gilbert Bolden III from New York City Ballet. And then moving over to right center is Roberto on pointe. And then far right is Dwayne, who is currently a member of the Trocaderos in New York City.
That's so cool. What a photo.
And this is from our gala. This is Carlos Opui and Diego Cruz, who's a soloist with San Francisco Ballet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And he makes really good paella.
You love me some good paella.
He's Spanish, so that's like he just loves making them.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
They are fun to make. Mm.
And this is Brian Gephardt. He is originally from Chattanooga. He dances ballet in New York City. And here he is dancing Jabril Jackson's I Will Follow You Too. And
this is the other side of the altar. So what you saw before was straight into what used to be the altar, and this is just the reverse view.
So instead of pews, we have these gorgeous pink couches.
Wow. Wow.
And then this is from our spring gala. This was the commission by Ben Needham Wood, who used to dance with Smuin Ballet in San Francisco. And he's now retired as a dancer, but continuing his choreographic and film career. And we have Carlos Opui on the left and Roberto on the right.
This is up in the Mitzanim, the same location as well. So you can see the diversity in the landscape.
Yeah, I did watch this one. I was part of the spring gala, so I got to see it. It was excellent. It was just excellent. I kept texting Roberto all night. It's like, that was just really good. I loved it.
Okay.
And we have such a great film team too. The lead on the film team is Natasha Orderly, and she used to dance with ODC, and her partner Max works with Pixar in Emeryville. So they're just like this dream film team. We have Pixar and we have a dancer, and they just get down and they're like creating this perspective as if you're the third dancer, that third unseen dancer, that's up on stage. And I really love this component of film that's been brought forward with this pandemic. There's people have been doing dance films, but they're very niche, and now it's kind of like the only way to see dance. And people really leaned into that genre, I guess, of presenting dance, and I love it. I'm like addicted now. I'm on my iPhone and I'm like trying to be them.
Yeah.
But it's just so beautiful, and we're really lucky that we have a film crew, a film artistic team that knows dance and knows how to capture it and make it even more, I guess, dynamic by the way that it's being viewed.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I would say the laws of attraction have been working in your favor in every way. I mean, all the right people have it seemed like they've showed up at the right time to do the right thing.
We've been very lucky. It's insane. It's so humbling to be working with these amazing people, and also these choreographers as well. Since we started, it's just like it's a dream production team and artistic team. It really is. And right now we are getting ready. So our show, we have a couple of classical ballets and romantic ballets that we will be producing or showcasing, and then we have a contemporary piece that has already been set, and this is to pop music, and it's just very fun, and it's just it's a movie. It's just it's a great piece, and then we're gonna have our new commission, who is like one of the up and coming choreographers of the United States, and he's a soloist with the San Francisco Ballet as well, and
his name is Miles Thatcher.
So yeah, he's kind of like the new it person, right? Or as a choreographer and dancer.
Would say in the Bay Area he's very established, and then nationally he's done so much, and he even has had some international appearances as a choreographer. So we're so lucky to have him. And when we tell people, we're like, oh yeah, we have a commission by Miles, they're like
what?
So,
it's
exciting.
Everyone wants Miles, so
so
he's
right.
right.
Guys, things like this don't happen by accident. You're the right people doing the right work at the right time, and these people are like, oh, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to be a part of that, and I know why. So that's phenomenal. Lisa Jennings says, looking forward to seeing more and in person in Nashville. So yeah, we have to bring it here.
Yes, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely. We were back with Trocadero. We were supposed to tour to Nashville. Oof, when was this? Maybe in 2018, 17,
right? You're about right.
18, and the shows never happened for some reason. They got canceled. So it's still. I mean, when I moved here, I drove all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, and of course, my first stop had to be Nashville. So that was in 2019, and I haven't been ever since. So it's just a dream of mine to go back.
Well, you won't recognize the city. I mean, during COVID, construction never stopped. Things were going up downtown. I mean, I went downtown the other day, and I was like, I don't even recognize this place anymore. It's just amazing how much. And we got the new Hilton Grand, Anyway. It's just amazing, and new stuff coming in all the time. There's going to be the new Four Seasons. I mean,
it's an amazing city.
It is an amazing city.
I miss it every day, so I can't wait. And to bring. I always talk to Theresa so many amazing things about Nashville. So, and she's also been there.
I went there for like 2 days, and I walked everything, and it was cool.
Yeah,
but
just like the everyday, and I'm like, just like, and we haven't been to Bellevue.
Correct.
It's this amazing.
That's right, Vegas.
Vegas.
Yes.
So, Bellevue holds a special place.
Oh.
I think we still have one more trailer.
Yes, so this is kind of a compilation of pretty much everything we've done since we just having the dancers.
We started rehearsal on Monday, and it's Thursday, so we don't have any footage for this upcoming show. So we, like you said, we're kind of recycling footage, and
you will see new things that probably wasn't in the other footage.
Yeah. So, can people see these productions? Are they online? Can you have access, or are they not? Or
at this point,
your past productions like Breaking Ground.
So we were presenting those as live events, but we're very nimble, and we're very whatever the people need. So at this point, if anyone would like to see the show, please send us an email. And what we did in the past for people that were like, oh, I just missed it, can I see it? We just asked that they donate what would have been a ticket, a amount of per ticket, and then we would send a link to stream it for a certain time. I think there's a better way to do this, and we will work on that. But for a quick solution for right now, if you on the spot, please just email us if you'd like to see our spring gala or Breaking Ground, and we will figure out how to make that happen. Yeah. We appreciate you guys supporting us.
And that would be at info@ballet22.com. So we have two full-on shows that we are able to showcase it.
So folks, there's the link to email them if you'd like to see some of the shows, and you really should, because it's absolutely fantastic work. Another question, it left me. Cool. So let's watch this next trailer. Give me a second. Here we go. Amazing. How many times have I said that tonight? That's been my word for the night. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see that. Is this one going to be digital, or is it? You said it's live, but and both.
It's going to be presented live in June, and then we will release it probably a month after or so.
And you guys are the first to hear it about
Correct.
the digital show.
You heard it here from Live from the View. Don't make me come to San Francisco to see this one. By the way, and I told Roberto, and I've said this before, the scene with the great big beautiful fanned windows that you're dancing in front of, I've actually stayed. It's the Marriott, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
JW Marriott, I believe. I've actually stayed there and had breakfast sitting by that window looking out over San Francisco. It's the most amazing view in the world. It's just, there's nothing like it.
It's stunning. Yeah.
So, so kudos to y'all for getting that space to do that with. That's grand.
I mean, COVID really, I mean, it's such a horrible thing to say, but COVID really helped in terms of like that venue would just be, I mean, first of all, very, very expensive
and booked.
I mean, it's booked all the time. And we just had the luxury to just come in and take our sweet time whenever, because it's just, I mean, there was nothing happening. They were like, oh my God, it would be a pleasure to like see this space.
Have some light.
For once after so many months of just being, I mean, even the dust that was in it, they just really had that locked. And I'm like, oh my God.
And they went up there, they're like, we just want to be up here again and like watch the filming.
Oh my gosh, wow.
I do think that like, I mean, this is such a huge global event that we all went through together. And I do feel like it has really forced people to be creative and have forced people to maybe in a way even be more generous. Like I know that everyone has a different experience. And of course, like that's not for everyone. But I do think that people have, in our experience, have had to stop and think like, what's actually really important to us? And what do I want to spend my time doing? And why am I doing what I'm doing? And I think we've been lucky to run into some people that, you know, like here at the Marriott, they were like, yeah, we really believe in what you're doing and the space is open and it would be our honor to like host you here. And I don't know if that would have happened if we hadn't gone through this experience, you know? So I think people are having to stop and being like, what does our company stand for? What can we offer to people? How can we support the arts?
I feel like we felt a lot of like before, always arts are always, you know, kind of forgotten and non-essential. And I think because of just being at home and kind of art and media, it's all you could see or do, you know, maybe that sparked always like, oh my God, this is more important than we thought. And I think all these organizations and with, you know, now they're like realizing that and they realize that the arts have been the one to be one of the, you know, to be hit the most and not being able to perform or being a live theater and musicians. I mean, so many people, but the arts in general, and they're just really trying to give back because they have been able to stay afloat somehow. They are wanting to give back to the arts and the community in whichever way they can. So that has helped us a tremendous way, and we're very grateful and humble.
Sure. Amazing stuff. Well, guys, we're kind of coming to the close of our evening.
God, it's been an hour.
I know, right?
How did that happen? It's magic. And y'all were nervous. So, I mean, this has just been perfect. It's been the most perfect show I've had a wonderful time being with you, talking with you. It's so always great to see you. As a matter of fact, Lisa Jennings, who was coming in earlier, I was with her earlier, and we were talking about the show. She's like, "Oh my God, I remember Roberto from that publicity and stuff."
Oh my God,
you're still well remembered. You're still very fondly remembered in Nashville as well. So we love that, guys. Theresa, Roberto, thank you so much for your time this evening. I know this has been a little bit harder to put together because San Francisco time and Nashville time don't always jive so well, but we did it, and it happened. It was absolutely stunning. It was a great show, so I really do appreciate you being here. Would you like to say anything last statements to our viewers?
I mean, Yes, please follow along. Please support us. There's so many ways to do that. Of course, donating, buying tickets to our shows,
Even following
spreading the
us.
word, following us on social media. If you know people who have the resources to help, or you're like, I know someone in San Francisco, send them a link. I mean, there's so many ways to support, and they're all important. Or even if you know someone who may be a child who's non-binary or questioning their identity, and you're like, hey, look, this is something that's out there for you. Please just share that we exist. You don't know what impact that has on someone. And it's not all about like just, oh, please donate, please do this, but just sharing that we exist is helpful, not only to us to continue to be able to produce the work, but also it's the reason why we produce the work. So thank you for sharing and spreading the word and supporting in any way that you can. Thank you, Glenn, for having us here. I mean, this is a huge support. Thank you for lifting us up and sharing us to your network and to your community.
Absolutely. It's been my absolute pleasure. So I thank y'all for, again, your time, your talent, your love, your caring. Everything that y'all are doing for the community is amazing and lovely. And so I appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the good work, man. I just can't wait to see you both, and which will hopefully be sooner than later.
Yes. Please come for our show in June.
Absolutely.
If you're going to have a vacation, you can plan it just aptly around the weekend of the 18th.
I would love nothing more. So all our viewers, thank you for being with us this evening for Live from the View. I'm Glenn Biggs with Community Arts of Bellevue, which is a 501c3 organization ourselves that exists in Bellevue to uplift and to uphold and to celebrate the arts. And so if you'd love to be more involved with our organization, I would love that as well. And you can always go to our website. It's very easy to remember, caofb.org, Community Arts of Bellevue.org. Please come see us, get involved with us, become members with us. We'd love to have you. So next Thursday night is going to be an incredible show with a gentleman named Will Tarleton, and they're going to be talking about CBD, the art of CBD. We like to throw that art in there somehow. So we have every Thursday night, 7 o'clock, we have an amazing lineup of shows that are for the relentlessly curious is our new name, our new tagline for Live from the View. And we just have a great schedule coming up. So please join us on Thursday nights, and we'll be looking forward to seeing all of you. Roberto, Theresa, once again, love y'all. Take care. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.